Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by Netflix.
Today on Variant, I'm going to count down the top 5 best animated comic book movies of all time. You like that? Well, that's drama, baby. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than fat kids love cake. I'm your host, Arris. Since I love comics, cartoons, and movies oh so much, I decided what would be better than doing an episode that combines all three into one. And what combines all three elements into one, may you ask? Well, that would be comic book animated movies. So I'm going to stop yapping and start counting down my top 5 favorite animated comic book movies of all time, starting from the bottom with pick number 5. At number 5 is Green Lantern First Flight. Let me just say off the bat, this movie is a must-watch for any Green Lantern fan. It's the origin story of the Green Lantern, which shows how pilot Hal Jordan becomes Green Lantern of Earth, Sector 2814. For those of you who don't know, there are multiple Green Lanterns. They're basically like cosmic police that call themselves the Green Lantern Corps. Each Green Lantern gets their own sector to protect, much like a police officer gets their own district or city to patrol. I really like how the movie showed the struggle of Hal Jordan being accepted into the Green Lantern Corps, as he was the first human to ever be chosen to become a Green Lantern. Much like the comics, he is trained by Green Lantern Sinestro, who of course becomes Hal's archenemy and leader of the Yellow Lanterns. The action in this movie is awesome. We get some really cool fight scenes and things blowing up. In the fight scene between Sinestro and Hal, well, I don't want to give it away, but balls yeah. I really love how Warner Brothers Animation handled the art. It looks fantastic, as basically all of their animated films do. It was produced by Bruce Timm, who is the main genius responsible for Batman the Animated Series. Need I say more? Fun fact, Hal Jordan was voiced by Christopher Meloni, who was actually in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel as Colonel Hardy, which is pretty freaking awesome. But yes, this is a must-buy for any Green Lantern fan, or even if you're just a fan of great cartoons. Plus, we get to see all of our favorite Green Lanterns in this movie, like Abensor, Tomari, Kilowog, Boudica, and even Chimp. Just love that fuzzy little squirrel. Next on my list, and at number 4, we have Batman Under the Red Hood. This film is based off of 2 of my favorite Batman storylines, Batman: A Death in the Family, and what the movie is sort of named after, Batman Under the Hood. The opening scene is basically right out of the Death in the Family storyline, and is definitely one of the coolest Joker scenes put into cartoon form, and a real treat for fans of A Death in the Family. The screenplay was actually written by Jude Winnick, the same guy who wrote Under the Hood in its monthly Batman comic, and who better to write this movie than the guy who wrote the comics that this movie is based off of. The plot of this movie is the Joker kills the second person to don the Robin mantle, Jason Todd, which obviously has a huge effect on Batman emotionally, as well as just pissing him off. Just one thing you don't want to do. Not even Superman likes pissing off Batman. You just don't do it. Flash forward 5 years into the future, and we are introduced to a new villain, Red Hood, who takes command of the drug trade in Gotham City. Batman obviously tries to stop him, as well as trying to find out who the heck he is. There is a twist to this movie that I don't want to give away, but for people who have read A Death in the Family or Under the Hood, you probably know what it is. But if you haven't read them, I highly recommend that you do, because they're easily 2 of my favorite Batman stories. Pretty much everything about this movie is great. The screenplay is superb, the voice acting is fantastic, and even though Kevin Conroy didn't voice Batman in this movie, it was actually Bruce Greenwood, he still did a great job. The last 10 to 15 minutes of this movie is probably one of my favorite Batman confrontations with a villain or character I've seen in animation form. It's just downright good. Can't even say anything else about it. It's just good. One of my favorite characters is also in this movie, Nightwing, and for How I Met Your Mother fans, Neil Patrick Harris did the voice. It's always nice to see Nightwing fighting alongside of Batman. Other characters who make appearances in this movie are Ra's al Ghul, Amazo, and Black Mask. So if you want to watch a darker, serious-toned animated movie with still funness at the same time, give this a watch. And at number 3 is Superman Batman Public Enemies. This movie is an adaptation of the DC Comics storyline called, you guessed it, Superman Batman Public Enemies. The story focuses on Superman and Batman teaming up to prevent a meteorite from hitting Earth, as well as taking down Lex Luthor, who has been elected as President of the United States. The comic version of the story was freaking fantastic, and Warner Brothers did a great job adapting it. The animation in this movie is spot on to the one in the comics. The comics were drawn by Ed McGuinness, who is one of my favorite comic book artists. I just love how he makes all his characters muscly and larger than life. It's great. We also get to see a lot of the characters we saw in the comics as well, like Captain Atom, Power Girl, Metallo, Black Lightning, Captain Marvel, and or Shazam. I love that character so much, and I can't wait to see him in full force in the Zero issue of Justice League. Shazam, that is. And or Captain Marvel, as I just said. Yeah. The whole entire movie is just like eye candy, and all the animation and colors really pop. It definitely has some of the best fight scenes and action I've seen in animation, especially Batman's fight with Hawkman, or even Superman's fight with Captain Marvel. Oh daddy, was that entertaining. The movie also has humor, and who doesn't like to laugh? That's like saying who doesn't need toilet paper, and being like the whole concept of toilet paper is just weird and pointless. That would be disgusting. The story was really well told and in my opinion was just as entertaining as the comic. DC and Warner Brothers really know how to tell great stories and keep audiences engaged. One of the best things this movie has going for it is the voice cast. It has Tim Daly, who's the voice of Superman from Superman the Animated Series, and Clancy Brown returning as Lex Luthor, and none other than Kevin Conroy as the voice of Batman, which he's become known as. Netflix streams TV shows and movies directly to your home, saving you time, money, and hassle. As a Netflix member, you can instantly watch TV episodes and movies streaming directly to your PC, Mac, or right to your TV with your Xbox 360, PS3, or Nintendo Wii console, plus Apple devices, Kindle, and Nook. To get a free 30-day trial membership, go to netflix.com/variant and sign up now. My number 2 pick is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. This movie is set in the continuity of Batman Beyond, the animated series, along with also being set in what fans have dubbed the DCAU, which stands for DC Animated Universe. Meaning this movie takes place within the same universe as Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Static Shock, Justice League, and so on, which all just so happen to be some of my favorite cartoons. Like ever. The movie takes place in the future where Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman, as he is too old to be fighting crime on the mean streets of Gotham. So he has a new person take on the Batman mantle, Terry McGinnis, who is voiced by Will Friedle, who also played Eric from Boy Meets World, which, side note, is one of the best TV shows ever. The Joker resurfaces after being gone for 40 years and takes control of the Joker posse, and has them steal high-tech communications equipment, but for what purpose does Mr. J have them do this? Just watch, love, and find out. I love how the movie gives flashbacks to the Batman the Animated Series timeline to show you what happened to the characters in the past to get them to the place they are now, since the movie is based in the future, which goes back to me saying this movie is in the same universe with the other DC animated shows. It just amazes me how much DC and everyone involved in these DC animated universe movies make them flow so well and intertwine with their TV counterparts, which is a big reason why this is in my number 2 slot. It's just downright brilliant. They tell their stories so flawlessly. Plus, I just love the Batman Beyond concept. The twist of this movie also threw me for a loop, which I always like. It's always interesting to find out what the Joker's motives are. Who, by the way, is voiced by the infamous Mark Hamill. The animation is done in the same fashion as Superman and Batman the Animated Series, which is also based off of Bruce Timm's art. He also co-wrote the script for this movie, which, like I've said before, he is responsible for most of my childhood. He's a genius and a gentleman. God among men. A modern day Hercules. A poet and okay, I'm done. First up on Wednesday, August 22nd is Flash issue 12. This title has been really good and they're setting up the next major storyline in this issue, so it's the perfect time to jump on board if you're looking to get into Flash. Here we have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 692. This is the 50th anniversary issue for the Wall Crawler. It's a special oversized issue that goes back to the legend that started it all. And does Spider-Man get his very own sidekick named Alpha? We'll see, but I'm not sure if I'm feeling the whole sidekick thing. Now we have Venom issue 23. The Avengers give him the task of bringing in Damian Hellstrom. Should be a great issue. And here we have Brilliant issue 4. It's the real world and the most unlikely of characters have invented superpowers. Now sides are being drawn on how to exploit them, and how will the world react of the idea of superpowers really existing? Read this to find out. Here we have Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe issue 4. Issue 3 was on my last week's buy list. I'm liking the whole idea of this miniseries, which is exactly what the title implies. Now we have Invincible issue 94. This is from the same writer of The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman. It's about a son who's inherited his alien father's super strength and ability to fly, and now he's vowed to defend the Earth. And finally we have America's Got Powers issue 3. This miniseries is about superpowered teens who have a chance to win fame and money by competing in the biggest TV show on Earth. All they have to do is win. Great series, definitely a fun read. And coming in on top is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. This should be no surprise being at number 1. I mean, it's literally Batman the Animated Series on the big screen. It's actually the only movie in this countdown that's had a theatrical release. The movie was actually supposed to be a direct-to-home video release, but Warner Brothers liked it so much, they put it on the big screen. I actually remember my mom taking me to see this movie in theaters, and it's still one of the most memorable moments of my childhood. The movie basically jumps back and forth from Bruce's college years with his past love Andrea, who ends up becoming his fiance, but then ends up leaving him. Then we go back to present day where there's a mysterious cloaked figure killing Gotham's gangsters and crime bosses. And as we all know, Batman doesn't believe in killing, so you can bet your manberries he's gonna stop this mysterious new figure. I love how this movie is kind of also an origin story. It shows another aspect of why Bruce finally dons the cape and cowl, besides the obvious fact of his parents being shot, which I thought was a really cool approach on his origin. It shocks me every time I watch this movie or Batman the Animated Series how much they both hold up, which is really the test for any great movie or TV show. I mean, the movie was made in 1993 and still is just as good as the day my mom took me to go see it. Not to mention the musical score for this movie is iconic to say the least. It really just screams Batman and throws me right back to my younger days when I would just watch cartoons and read comics all day. Who am I kidding? I still do that. You just don't mess with perfection. I can go on and on how much I love this movie, but like I said earlier, it's Batman the Animated Series on the big screen. What more should I have to say? So essentially what that means is one of the best cartoons ever created made into a feature film. 76 glorious minutes. Well, that'll do it for today on Variant. I know all of my picks were DC comic based, but I think it's just common knowledge that DC overall has the animated world on lock when it comes to comics, kind of like Marvel overall has the live action movies on lock. But if you guys have any other favorites, you can post in our comment section below or on our Variant Facebook page. Once again, I'm going to put a poll up on our Variant Facebook page for you guys to vote what are the best animated superhero movies of all time. So head over there and check that out if you'd like. You can also tweet to me at twitter.com/Arris_Quinones or like my Facebook page at facebook.com/TheArrisQuinones. But I will see you next week when I explain everything you need to know about DC Comics New 52 as well as Marvel's Marvel Now launch. The story focuses on Superman.
You were right!
Hold on.
Holding. But I'm still rolling.
Are you really still rolling?
Yeah. You're being really unprofessional.
No, I'm not.